Thank you, Bob. This is like a nice cozy little evening here. I like this. And thank you all for coming tonight in this, I don't know what this weather is these days, but we're having it. So the invitation was extended to me to read tonight, so I would like to invite you all to participate. And this first poem is basically what this poem is trying to do. This poem is called Invitation. Let's meet there, in the breaths between the lines, in the silence between the words, in the susurrus between the stanzas. You'll find me waiting. Meet me in the spaces between the letters, before and after the commas, after the finality of periods. And this quietude is where we'll share all that cannot be named, all that cannot be spoken, and all that matters. Thank you. So most of what I'm going to read tonight is from a collection I'm working on. I was lucky enough to be, I don't want to say raised, but I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, who really shaped the person I am today as an adult. She's gone now, but and due to circumstances within my family, I wasn't around for her passing, which really makes me upset. But so these poems are kind of like finishing the conversations that we had and having conversations with her that we never got to have as an adult. So my grandmother and some of my family came here in 1969 and from Italy, and she didn't learn English, so you need to know a little bit of background there, but that's about it. So this first poem is called Neither Here Nor There. When you were alive, it was like you had 1 foot in and 1 foot out. 1 foot in America, 1 still in Italy. Now you're gone, and it's the same way. 1 foot in death, 1 foot kicking, always kicking, in my memory. Okay. So this poem is called Translation, and that's kind of a similar theme running through a lot of this work. So, translation. Since you couldn't speak for yourself when you were alive, and now you can't speak because you're dead, I will speak for you. This will be my duty. This is my sacrament, continuing to translate for you. I will pull your story from the ether to end the silence that suffocated us both for so many years. Thank you. This is an older poem, but I think this kind of started this series for me mentally a number of years ago. This poem is called Eggplant. Nature's sensuality lives in the eggplant, whose fluid curves remind me of my own shape. I noticed this while preparing melanzana alla parmigiana in the fading fall twilight. I gently peel away their aubergine skin, as thin as a chemise. I drop them in the oil with a dinner fork, like my grandmother used to, where they dance a tarantella of fear and desire. The heat from my flame frizzes my hair, and I think about my grandmother and the generations of other Italian women frying eggplant for Sunday dinner. We share the same stance, the same wide hips, the same recipes. We, who take ourselves away from everyday concerns to learn the secrets of the eggplant. Okay. Mutism. I think I know now why you never wanted to learn English. It was fun to be your translator when I was a little kid. It was less fun as an adult to explain why you refused to learn the language, to become a citizen, eventually to leave the house. It was easier for you to hide, to stay mute when the bad people, the mafiosi, came knocking on the door of your row house. It was better to look out at the people and pretend not to be home. It was better not to understand that your husband has a daughter who looks exactly like him by some stranger in New Jersey. It was better when you did the wash and found baggies of white powder in your son's jeans to pretend it was snow, and that you didn't really know what it was. It was better when the police came calling for those same sons to pretend not to understand. Hide it away, put it in the pocket of your house dress, lock it in the bedroom, bury it in the flower pots in the backyard. Don't let anyone see. It's better this way, you used to tell me. It seems to me now that there's a fine line between being mute and having your voice drowned out by shame. Okay. So my grandmother had like a kind of a funny relationship with religion. I was raised pretty Catholic. I went to Catholic school. We did a lot of Catholic things. But she kind of struggled with certain aspects of Catholicism, and I think she kind of passed that struggle on to me. So this is a poem that kind of honors that and her way of thinking about things. This poem is called Italian Santeria. I don't think you believed in anything more than being mystical in the humdrum, everyday world of family and row homes. I don't think you believed in anything more than channeling with cooking herbs in the kitchen and roses in plastic pots in the backyard. I don't think you believed in anything more than dreams of St. Anthony surrounded by fire. I don't think you believed in anything more than novenas to St. Rita, patron saint of women and other lost causes. I don't think you believed in anything more than scorning the Vatican and its treasure rooms. I don't think you believed in anything more than having your own brand of flawed faith. And I don't think I believe in anything more than what you taught me. Thank you. So, growing up, I would go to my grandmother's house after school, and it was an interesting place. We spent a lot of time together. We read a lot of books together, but it wasn't the easiest place to be. My mother had 4 brothers, and each of them had their own brand of problems. But this particular poem is about my Uncle Vinny and the struggles he had, and it's sort of a coming of age poem because I really didn't understand everything as a child until this moment. It's kind of a flash of understanding. It's one of those moments in childhood that you look back on and realize you're sort of putting it together without knowing that you were. And the title of this poem is called Il Volo, which in Italian means flight. When Uncle Vinny jumped from the second floor window of your house, I was 8. He broke his arm and scraped his head. I remember it was the first time I had seen a grown man cry. I didn't know then why he jumped. I'm still not sure. Was it a suicide attempt? Was he afraid we'd figure out your hidden cash was missing? Was it because he was stoned? I asked you those questions. You looked at me with your sad and wet blue eyes and told me sometimes people just feel the need to fly, far away from their problems. The issue, you reminded me, is they always fall flat back down to earth. Thank you. Okay, this poem is called I Morti, which means the dead in Italian. We talked about it once, when cousin Marco married the woman who was supposedly haunted since her childhood. True story. You said to me, Cara, do not fear I Morti. The dead cannot harm you. They're gone, and there is nothing else after this life. It's the living you must worry about. I do not even know where they buried you. I spent days searching Google for something, an obit, a sign, and nothing. Did they bury you here, or were you shipped back to Italy like a piece of cargo? Back to Italy, the place to which you never wanted to return. I, with no faith, pray that you weren't cremated, that your children at least knew you were afraid of cremation, of burning. This is a disgrace. Una disgrazia, una disgrazia, una disgrazia. I almost wish you would haunt me, so we could talk one last time, but I know you didn't believe in ghosts. Thank you. Okay, so there's more bottles of stuff coming. This poem is called Reliquary Miracle. By the end of your life, your body was little more than a reliquary. The holy items it housed, your thoughts, your memories of us. When they lowered you into the ground, if they lowered you into the ground, I still don't know. I can imagine what happened inside the coffin. An explosion as your ribcage cracked, exploding in lush, red garden roses. After. Where did you go when you left this world? It's a question all of us wonder about these dead loved ones. But in your case, it's different. I can't imagine you going where everybody else who's died has, like some great heavenly reunion. Frankly, if the hereafter is a big social occasion, I think you'd probably avoid it. I can't say I blame you. If the end involves a celestial welcome home cocktail party, I won't be attending either. That is, unless you're planning to be there. In that case, I'll bring the wine. So this one's probably the newest of what I've been working on, and this poem is called Sunflowers. Sunflowers. I thought of you today when I was pushing my rickety shopping cart at the supermarket. A large bucket of sunflowers greeted me near the door. Their heads were as large as a small child's. I remember you telling me that sometimes things in the world are simply too beautiful not to take home. Leather handbags, a glass vase, roses in bloom. And that it's okay to scrimp pennies elsewhere to bring some beauty into your life. I think of you when I put these girasoli into my cart. Italian has such a lyrical way of naming things. It literally means turns toward the sun. And the sunflower fields we used to drive through in Tuscany, acres of them in rows, all turned towards the same spot. I loved those times abroad. I know you didn't. I was there to make new memories. You were there trying to forget the times you were stuck, living in someone's dank basement, escaping rats the size of small dogs, subsisting on espresso because there was no food to feed you for you after you fed your children. It's no wonder you told me to buy sunflowers. So I have a couple more. This is the last poem from this particular collection. So this poem, I was really inspired. I recently, for the first time, read a poem called by Jamaica Kincaid, the writer, called "Girl," and it's a different form of experience. She's, I believe, from the West Indies, and it was advice from her mother. But I sort of, like I said, I was very inspired by it, and I really enjoyed reading it. So it's sort of my tribute to Jamaica Kincaid's "Girl." Excuse me. And this poem is called Consigli, which means advice in Italian. I won't be here forever, so I'm telling you these things now so you'll know what you need to know. Men are hard. You'll want one, trust me. But don't marry anyone from southern Italy, especially not a Sicilian like your grandfather. Look where that got me. Watch what you eat. Your body is prone to thickness, but don't diet too much. Men like something soft to hang on to. Your hair is the curtain to your face. Don't wear it too short, and lighten it as you get older. Dark hair is harsh, and no one believes you're 55 with natural jet black hair. Smell the fish before you buy it. If it smells like bleach, it's old, and that means you're being cheated by the fishmonger. Check the weather before you make gnocchi. If it's humid, make something else, or it'll stick together and be as heavy as lead. Don't make your lasagna like my sister's. Hers is like soup. Mine is better. Keep up with dusting your home. It's a daily battle in a war that's easy to lose. If you break an arm, you can set the bone at home with egg whites. Doctors are expensive. Whatever you do, don't get sick in Italy. Their hospitals are like prisons. More importantly, don't let me get sick in Italy. I don't want to die there. If you have female troubles, brew chamomile tea. It feels nice going down your throat. There's not much else you can do about it anyway. Don't fight with your mother. She's always been this way. You won't win. Trust me on this one. Read anything you can get your hands on. It's the only way out. Give everything to your family when you have one, but learn from me and my mistakes, Kata. Save a little something for yourself for when they leave, and they will eventually leave. Thank you. Sorry, I realized that of the last two poems I have, this one's also about death. Weird. So this is an older poem. This is not about my grandmother. I did a lot of pottery in college, and a few years ago I took a ceramics course at our local art center, and the woman who ran the kiln, I found out had died, and it was weird. I didn't know her, but I felt really sorry for her. So this poem is for her. So it's a different kind of elegy. Those I feel like were elegies for someone I knew very well, and this is an elegy for a stranger. Nita died in a house fire. I barely knew the woman whose hands held these, her glazes, her tools, her unfired pots scattered around the studio. The fire must have been hot as the kilns she used to fill and unload week after week, year after year. It's tragic, of course, that goes without saying, but it's beautiful. A life well lived. At the end, her body crumbling, a pot unfinished, fired by the heat, turning hard and vitreous. A life that was began as art, ended as art. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to close with this final poem here, and this poem to me is kind of like a love poem to words, to reading. So I was at a reading, and I was listening to Lamont Steptoe, who's one of my favorite poets. He comes here sometimes too. And he knew James Baldwin very well, and I'd never read any of Baldwin's work, so I kind of went on a James Baldwin kick, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm an office manager at a law firm, so this poem is sort of about the stolen moments you catch in your regular professional life. And this is reading James Baldwin on my lunch hour. It starts with a quote from James Baldwin. "You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read." That was in Life magazine in 1963. I'm reading James Baldwin on my lunch hour, office door closed, heels kicked off on the floor, bare feet up on the desk. I'm reading James Baldwin on my lunch hour and eating red grapes, somewhat past their prime. My fingers are sticking to the pages of the library's copy of Another Country, and I wonder who else has enjoyed these words before me, telling of a world of black skin touching white skin, of dreamers stumbling in the dark of New York and through the gray rains of Paris, of male bodies pushed up against male bodies. I'm reading James Baldwin on my lunch hour. It's a secret I'm keeping to myself as I walk through the rest of my afternoon, heels clicking in the quiet halls of the law firm. I still hear Baldwin's salacious, rebellious voice whispering to me quietly all day. Thank you all so much.